The first time I realized something was wrong in our new town, my husband whispered, "Don't look out the window," while someone stood motionless in our backyard at 2:13 in the morning. At first, I thought he was joking. We had only lived in Black Hollow for 5 weeks. It was one of those quiet mountain towns that looked too perfect to be real. White fences, warm porch lights, old diners where everybody knew each other's names. After 10 years in Chicago, it felt like heaven. No sirens, no crowds, no noise. Just pine trees, fog, and silence. Too much silence. My husband, Ethan, was the one who wanted the move. He said we needed a fresh start after everything we'd been through. Miscarriages, therapy, distance, the slow death that happens to marriages before anyone admits it out loud. And honestly, I agreed. I wanted to believe we could still save us. The house we bought sat at the edge of town near the woods, cheap for the size, Victorian style, huge windows, beautiful wraparound porch. I remember asking the realtor why it cost so little. She smiled too quickly. People don't usually stay long in Black Hollow. At the time, I laughed. I wish I hadn't. The neighbors welcomed us immediately, too immediately. The woman across the street, Martha, brought us pie within an hour of moving in. The old couple next door introduced themselves before we'd even unpacked. Everyone smiled. Everyone stared too long. And every single person asked the exact same question. How long are you planning to stay? Not, where are you from? Not, what do you do? Just that. How long are you staying? At night, Black Hollow felt different. Not peaceful. Watching. The streets became empty by 9 p.m. Curtains closed, porch lights turned off. The entire town looked dead, except for one house, a pale blue house at the end of our street. Every night, exactly at midnight, a light turned on in its upstairs window, and someone stood there, watching our house. The first month, Ethan told me I was overreacting. "You're anxious," he said. "That's all." But things kept happening. Footsteps outside at night, whispers near the fence. Once, I found muddy footprints circling our bedroom window, not leading to it, circling it, as if someone stood there for a long time. Then I noticed Ethan changing too. He started locking his office door, taking calls outside, deleting messages when I entered the room. One night I woke up at 3 a.m. and found him sitting in the kitchen in complete darkness, just staring at his phone. "Ethan?" He flinched hard enough to nearly drop it. "What are you doing?" Couldn't sleep. He immediately locked the screen. That was when I saw the second phone. Black, cheap, burner phone, gone a second later. "You have another phone?" He smiled too quickly. "Work stuff." But Ethan worked remotely in software design. There was no reason for a burner phone. A week later, our dog disappeared. No barking, no blood, nothing. One moment Oliver was in the yard, the next, gone. I was hysterical. Ethan barely reacted. "We'll get another dog." I remember staring at him after he said that, because it sounded wrong. Cold. Like he was annoyed I cared. That same night, someone knocked on our front door at 1:14 a.m. 3 slow knocks. Ethan froze beside me in bed. Then came another 3. He whispered something I'll never forget. "Don't answer it." "Who is it?" but he already looked terrified. Not confused, terrified. The knocking stopped. Then we heard footsteps circling the house. Slow, crunching through leaves outside our bedroom. I reached for my phone. No signal. Every device in the house suddenly had no service. Then came a text. Unknown number. You shouldn't have come back. I looked at Ethan. His face had gone completely pale. Back? I whispered. He didn't answer. The next morning, I drove into town alone. I needed answers. At the diner, conversations stopped when I walked in. Every person stared. Then Martha, the pie neighbor, sat across from me without asking. You need to leave, she said quietly. What? Before they realize who he is. Cold spread through my stomach. What are you talking about? But she stood up immediately. You were never supposed to move here. Then she walked out. That night, I searched Ethan's office. I know it was wrong, but by then I was scared of my own husband. The office smelled strange, metallic somehow. Inside his desk drawer, I found old newspaper clippings. Missing persons. Black Hollow, 2003. Black Hollow, 2007. Black Hollow, 2011. All unsolved disappearances. Then I found photos. Women, couples, tourists, taken secretly from distances, like surveillance. My pulse started hammering, and underneath everything, a photograph of our house, taken years before we moved in. On the back, in Ethan's handwriting, final attempt. I couldn't breathe. Then I heard footsteps upstairs. Ethan was home. I barely shoved everything back before he opened the office door. We stared at each other. You went through my things? His voice sounded calm, too calm. I lied instantly. No. He stepped closer. You're a terrible liar, Claire. I remember my heart pounding so hard I thought he could hear it. Then he touched my face gently and whispered, You need to trust me if we're going to survive this town. Survive. Not live in it. Survive it. That night, I pretended to sleep. At 2:07 a.m., Ethan quietly got out of bed. I followed him, outside, into the woods behind our house. Fog rolled through the trees so thick it looked alive. I watched Ethan reach a clearing where several townspeople stood waiting. Martha was there, the old couple next door, even the sheriff, all standing silently around a massive fire. Then Ethan spoke. She knows something. My blood turned to ice. Martha looked nervous. We should end this now. End this? I backed away slowly and stepped on a branch. Crack. Every head turned toward me. I ran. Branches tore at my face while voices shouted behind me. I could hear Ethan screaming my name, not lovingly, huntingly. I made it home seconds before him and locked every door. Then someone started pounding on the walls, not the doors, the walls, like multiple people were surrounding the house. My phone buzzed. He never told you what happened to the first wife. I froze. First wife? Ethan had told me he'd never been married before. Then another message arrived. Check the basement. I don't know why I listened. Maybe fear destroys common sense. Maybe some part of me already knew. The basement smelled damp and rotten. I noticed fresh concrete immediately, a rectangular patch near the far wall. My hands shook so badly I could barely hold the shovel. Then I heard Ethan upstairs. Claire? Slow footsteps crossed the floor above me. "I know you're scared," he called softly. I started digging faster. The discrete cracked, and underneath, fabric, bones, a wedding ring still attached to a skeletal hand. I screamed. Then the basement light turned off. Darkness swallowed everything. Ethan stood at the top of the stairs. "You shouldn't have done that." His voice sounded broken, not angry, devastated. "I can explain." I backed away, holding the shovel. "Who was she?" Silence. Then, "My wife." I thought I might faint. "You said—" I lied. Footsteps creaked above us, more people entering the house, the townspeople. Ethan looked terrified suddenly, not of me, of them. "You need to listen carefully," he whispered. "They're not going to let us leave alive." Then everything shattered. Windows exploded upstairs. Voices screamed. The front door crashed open. Ethan grabbed my arm. "Run!" We sprinted through the basement toward a hidden storm tunnel beneath the house. Behind us, I heard Martha shouting, "Don't let him escape again!" Again. The tunnel led deep into the woods. Ethan dragged me through darkness while explaining between breaths. 20 years earlier, Black Hollow had started a cult disguised as a church community. They believed sacrifices kept the town protected. Outsiders disappeared regularly: tourists, drifters, couples, anyone nobody would immediately search for. Ethan's first wife discovered everything, so the town killed her and framed Ethan. He escaped before they could kill him too. "But why come back?" I shouted. "Because they took my daughter." I stopped running. "What?" "She was a baby when my wife died. They kept her here." My stomach twisted violently. Nothing made sense anymore. "Who?" Ethan looked at me with tears in his eyes. "Martha." We reached an abandoned cabin near dawn, and then came the final twist, the one that still keeps me awake. Inside the cabin was a teenage girl, 16 maybe, dark hair, Ethan's eyes. She looked at him and whispered, "Dad?" He collapsed, crying. I should have felt relief. Instead, I noticed something horrifying on the table beside her. Photos of me, sleeping, walking through town, inside our house, hundreds of them. The girl saw me staring, then smiled. "You really shouldn't have come back here," she said softly. My blood went cold. Ethan turned slowly toward her, confused. "What?" She looked at him lovingly, then said the words that destroyed everything. "I told them where to find you." Outside the cabin, flashlights appeared between the trees, dozens of them. And then she locked the cabin door from the inside. The flashlights were getting closer to the cabin. The girl locked the door and calmly said, "They're here." Ethan looked at her like his heart had just been ripped out. "Why?" he whispered. She smiled. "Because they raised me." Then the windows started shaking. People outside were trying to break in. And suddenly, Ethan did something I never expected. He turned to me and said, "When that door opens, run. Don't look back." "Ethan, run!" He grabbed the kerosene lamp and smashed it onto the floor. Fire exploded across the wooden boards instantly. Chaos erupted outside. People started screaming. I smashed the side window with a chair and climbed out, cutting my hands on the glass. The last thing I saw was Ethan holding the door shut while flames climbed the walls around him. And his daughter? She just stood there, watching. I ran through the woods until sunrise. When the police finally reached the cabin, they found several bodies inside, but Ethan's body was never recovered. It's been 2 years now. I changed my name, my state, my entire life. But sometimes, late at night, I still receive the same email. No subject, no message, just a single photo attached. A picture of my house, taken from outside. And yesterday, in the reflection of the window, I saw Ethan standing there.